Burnout is a lie we tell capable people. So if you're feeling drained, it's most likely not you feeling burned out. You're overloaded because rest doesn't fix short circuits. And it was 2021. It was 2021. My wife and I, we decided we were going to stop waiting. We packed up 14 bags, two massive dogs, our kids. We moved to Portugal here in Lisbon. And I thought, coming here, the historic streets, the history, the food, the people, the beauty, all of that. I thought moving here with the beaches, the sun, the Atlantic breeze, like that would cure what I was feeling. This bone deep level of exhaustion. That's what I was carrying. And I would sit over, watching the water, watching the sun go down. I would sip coffee on the streets here in Portugal, just in cafes like any European kind of experience. And what I noticed is that the noise in my head didn't stop. The noise, the pressure, the things I was feeling, the things I experienced, the very things I thought were going to leave once I got here didn't. My mind was still like churning and spinning, and I would have to take melatonin to go to sleep, or I'd have to put earphones in to listen to meditations or ocean sounds or something so that I could turn off my brain and fall asleep. And realistically, it shouldn't have felt that heavy. In my mind, it was like, we're going to this great, beautiful place that most people go to vacation. This should be different. My jaw would get sore because I would be not clenching my jaw when I was working. And so I eventually cracked a tooth and they had to pull the tooth. All of this when I was supposed to be getting away from all the chaos. I was supposed to go to some place of tranquility and beauty. And yet every time my phone would chime or my Slack would go off, I would feel this sense of panic, of reaction, of scarcity. And what I've noticed, that here being one of the most beautiful places, I was still on. I couldn't turn it off. And I realized I wasn't suffering from a lack of vacation. I was suffering from a lack of a system that didn't have an off switch. And I don't know if this speaks to you, but there are multiple times where we take a vacation, we take a break, and then we come back into the office after a week or 2 weeks, and we still feel heavy. We still feel like we didn't necessarily get away. And so while I've survived the chaos of building the business, my body has never gotten to the point where it moved from crisis into operation, into the building of the business, the maintaining of the business. My body was feeling on an energetic level in a place of panic, or that word I use, scarcity, at all times. And so I was constantly having to hustle. I was trying to earn. I was trying to fight for. And I never got to this place where I got to rest. I couldn't rest my way out of all the crazy. And so I started looking into what was going on, because I noticed this going on with my clients as well. And that became a mirror. It was reflected back to me. I'm like, oh, these things I'm feeling, these things I'm sensing, I'm seeing in my clients. What's going on here? And like anything, it's easier to see things in other people than it is in ourselves. And even as a coach, it's so much easier for me to see some of the things in people I'm working with. And then that actually teaches me, it informs me, it gives me more data. And what I started to notice was that the nervous system that many were carrying, kind of the operating system that's running an old code, if you will. It's an operating system. It's like Microsoft 2000 trying to run in 2025. Maybe not that bad, but it seems that way. And so the heaviness doesn't leave. It's not because it stopped working, this operating system. It's because it was taking in more information than it could. We would take on more things, more change, more innovation, more technology, more tools, more artificial intelligence. But our brain would start to perceive that as danger, as in, I'm out of balance, I can't keep up, I'm not enough, or whatever the story is in your head. And so I moved from trying to just gut it out, from just willpower, sheer to get through the challenges, to get to that place of rest or peace, which is completely paradoxical. I was like trying to gut it out on my own to get rest. That doesn't make any sense. I was trying to train my body till I let go. And I recognized that I was safe. And then everything changed. So if you're a high performer, if you're running your business, if you're an executive, if you're feeling like you hit a wall, you're likely not burned out, you short circuited. Your body is trying to process this modern velocity with an internal operating system that wasn't designed for it. So rest is just a pause. Regulation is the actual upgrade to the operating system. And what does that look like for you? Recovery is not the same as regulation. You can't fix a biological overload with a temporary pause. So when you get to that place of dealing with the noise and the pressure, what are the things that you can implement to transform your recognition or your place in and amongst all the crazy, all the chaos, all the transformation and change? Well, one of the things that I've noticed is tools that I used to think were woo, tools that I used to think were other, like breathing, breathwork exercises, like meditation, like tapping, EFT tapping. There's so many different things that you can do to regulate your body. And some of it's also based from a psychological, physiological, identity based elements, for lack of better terms. And I'm not here today to like dive into all that as much as I just wanted to shine a mirror to tell you, if you're experiencing some of these things, it's not because you're burned out. You're experiencing these things because inside your body, you are not regulating. And what could happen if everything around you was crazy, but instead internally you were at peace, you were at joy, you were calm, cool, calm, collected. Well, that's what I found made all the difference, because then I can get super decisive. Then I can get super clear when I'm not just reactive to everything, reacting to different news, reacting to my family and my kids' needs, my wife's complaints, or what. My wife doesn't complain. She just makes critical observations, like all these different things. Instead of me reacting, jumping, snapping, I could be at peace. So if this is speaking to you, there are a few tools that I use, and you can look down in the links below. I have a link there with some of the tools that we use within our program. And this is the thing I want to just share with you last, is that what you're facing, you have solution for already. It's already in you. It's just about learning how to use those tools that you already possess. So today, what did you like? What do you need to hear? What do you want more of? Let me know in the comments below. If this is the kind of thinking that helps you to lead better, go ahead and subscribe so you can get more of this in you, because the mission here is simple. 10 million leaders, 10 minutes a day to become a 10.0 version of yourself. And decide today if you want to be one of them. I'll see you tomorrow.